fusion, but I'm not sure. Do we get a look at the map pool?
We saw him a
Okay,
little
we'll
bit
just go from
early
here.
on in the Overwatch League. Primarily like Lijiang Tower for those game
quality.
5s. Really early on, we saw him play some Zarya there. Towards the beginning, but I think the Philadelphia Fusion, what they can do is they can have Fraggy and Poco play these Orion Zarya comps. If you want to bring in Sado to play some Winston, that's another layer of flexibility they have. So EQO will play the Brigitte here, and Carpe will play Widowmaker. I think you're going to see these two players alternated depending on what DPS they want. Yeah, talking to the Philadelphia.
Okay, team comps. So on the side of Uprising, we have double sniper. This has been pretty common on this map. The idea, it looks like, is to rotate flanking with these two. So you will have either the Widow sitting with the team while the Hanzo goes flanks on the high ground over here or over up here or whatever. And the Widowmaker stays with the team, or the Widowmaker goes up here and the Hanzo stays with the team. You're running Rein Zarya because this is a really good map for Rein Zarya. There's not a lot of high ground apart from up here, around the back here, that the defenders can hold. And that's why you've got these guys. These guys contest the high ground. And you run the Zenyatta Mercy combo. So that's just pretty standard. The thing we can do here is you have the Hanzo Grav combo, which gets damage boosted by the Mercy. The whole idea of that is, you've probably seen it comp 100 times. Mercy damage boosts the Hanzo, while the Zarya Gravs, that does 260 damage per second. If the Zenyatta trances it, he only heals 300 heals per second. And so if the Reinhardt starts swinging into it, and the Zarya is shooting into it, and the Zenyatta's also shooting into it, those people are going to die. So it's pretty much don't get all grabbed and lose the fight. The way I've seen the counter for it is Reinhardt will use his Shatter defensively. So the Reinhardt will wait until they're grabbed, and the other Reinhardt has to swing into the grab to actually get, some damage into it and actually kill it. So if the other Reinhardt has to drop his shield, so your Reinhardt, while he's in the grab, hammer downs and shatters the enemy team, and they can't follow up on it. So that's the way I've seen it countered. Of course, Transcendents don't make squat to a headshot from a Hanzo and a headshot from a Widowmaker. So dropping his shield to shatter could also allow them to get picks on the on their DPS. On defense, we have this is almost the meta now, except this is a Hanzo. I think what they've done here is they're running the Widowmaker because they know that they're going to want to run a Widowmaker on attack, and they want to be able to counter that. So this comp here is set up to win the frontline fight. So with the Brigitte, you can stun the Reinhardt as he aggresses. If the Zarya starts pushing forward aggressively, she can boop the Zarya backwards out of range. Same with the Reinhardt. She's quite a menace. And all the while she's healing her tanks up as well as herself, throwing armor packs on these two when they're getting low. She does a fair amount of healing. 150 is nothing to sneeze at. Like, you just negated 2 of Reinhardt's swings. So what I think what will happen here is this Widowmaker here, somehow I've made this a lot thinner. The Widowmaker here will, there we go. The Widowmaker here will be trying to counter-snipe the other Widow and just keep her occupied. while the rest of the team is concentrating on beating the front line of the Reinhardt and the Zarya. So you've got 3 against 2. You win the front line battle, then you push onto the supports, and during that time you should have gotten some reasonable picks. Your Widowmaker should have created some space. It's all really dependent on Widowmaker not dying to this Widow or this Hanzo and keeping them occupied. I favor Boston's attack more than I like Philly's defense, because what can happen as soon as they try and engage. Sorry, let me rephrase that. When Philly Fusion engage onto Uprising, so they have to come out, that's fine. Because they choose when they want to have the fight with the front line. However, on defense, you don't really get to choose when you do that. So, attacking team gets the advantage of when, the defending team gets the advantage of where. So, what can happen here is both snipers can sort of just pick away at them, and then the front line doesn't have to engage. So Philly have to force the front line engagement. They have to do it. Otherwise, during the poke phase, they're at a severe disadvantage. So I want Uprising to take it slow, and for Fusion to try and make the engagement happen quickly. That's how I see these teams trying to play around.
Philadelphia Fusion guys, before the game, we heard a similar thing, right? Carpe will definitely play some Vegeta if the situation calls for it. It's a German name with Swedish pronunciation, by the way, so listen out for how Johnny says it. It's probably the closest, but Vegeta Lindholm is her name. Let's get into it though. Kalios taking a big bunch of damage, but well charged up to start the fight up. But
so this is what I'm saying. The Uprising are taking it nice and slow. They unfortunately lose Striker, who might get res.
Striker's down and res down.
So they're taking it nice and slow. I like this angle from Carpe. That's pretty cool.
So obviously this is the
he's pressuring them while they're in their slow pick phase.
Not playing the new patch version of Hanzo here in the Overwatch League, but you can still put together that great...
What happened over here? What's happening over here?
A German name with Swedish pronunciation, by the way, so listen out for how Johnny says it. It's probably the closest, but Vegeta Lindholm is her name. Let's get into it though. Kalios taking a big bunch of damage, but well charged up to start the fight up, but Poco's already cut to the heart of...
So we've got Striker playing with his team over here a bit, and we have Mistakes sitting a lot further back, out of the line of sight of the other Widow. Carpe's just firing through this room here. There's no way they can really contest him if Mistakes doesn't do it.
The Uprising, Striker's down and...
Of which I feel like he should be. He should be standing here because he can get a shot onto Mistakes from behind this barrier. Sorry, onto Carpe from behind this barrier.
Rest down. So obviously this is...
And they're sort of just ignoring him, and they're letting him just chip away at them.
The new patch version of Hanzo here in the
So Zarya goes a long way around, very long way around.
That great graviton surge
for a big flank.
Strike combination. You're going to see just a ton of damage coming down from Striker in Mistakes on the double snipers.
So this sort of style right now is not benefiting the Fusion. Because the longer this fight goes on, the more it shifts into the favor of Uprising. They have the better pick potential. And also they can be working towards a grab. They aren't. I don't know what Kalios is doing. But their win condition is get picks, then move in. Or get a combo, then move in. Fusion's win condition is they need to get ultimates before them and push into them and wipe them. And then constantly cycle through their ultimates to wipe them.
Playing from a distance, the only one who can contest them is Carpe up on the high ground, but he's got to be careful for both of these players.
Kalios looking well charged.
Alright, so now they've pushed them into this back area, which is where they want them most of the time, because now they can control this high ground up here. Neko, oh, taking out Neptuno. That's
Or that Zarya will indicate
that's
the
what
high
they
level.
needed. Carpe takes Striker though. We've got Grav up here. I imagine they'd use it if they get Kelix in the Grav. Then this should be a nice team wipe.
Poco though is in much the same position. Both Zarya's already drawing blood.
They only
That's a
get
graviton
Gamsu.
surge early. Gamsu gets caught, knocked into the wall, then dragged back into the black
Mistake takes out Carpe. Kalios takes out Poco. Gamsu dies, obviously.
hole itself. But it wasn't the most effective graviton there. As you can see, Neko, Kellex, and Kalios around the edges of the fight.
They needed more than one in that Grav, obviously. That needed to be a huge Grav, especially after Illusion Mercy.
And that's huge for Boss.
But if we look back here a bit,
Getting to a higher level of charge. Poco though is in much the same position. Both Zarya's already drawing blood. That's a graviton surge early. Gamsu gets caught, knocked into the wall.
so Striker was trying to take the duel with Carpe. That's why he got knocked out there, and then Mistakes took advantage of that. You can see both snipers on this high ground here without anyone contesting them, so Boston have won this anyway. At this point, if you have both snipers up here and no contest, which they seriously cannot contest with anyone else apart from Carpe.
Back into the black hole itself. But it wasn't the most effective graviton.
So
there.
they didn't
Neko, Kellex, and Kalios around the edges of the
Fraggy.
fight. Were able to get some blood drawn.
Questionable shatter. Very questionable shatter. What he might have been doing there is trying to kill the supports so that they can push up to this choke when they recontest. But that was questionable. So if he killed those supports there, it wouldn't have mattered. No, it wouldn't have mattered. That was just a waste. But yeah, Philly took it too slowly because they can push out into them, but then they lose the advantage of the defensive ground. So I don't like this team comp for defense, and you saw why they can't choose when they want to engage, so they just lost slowly. They were doing okay, but they were just losing slowly. And now we're coming up to the big combo.
From Mistakes, obviously, to give you that great information to see where to throw that grab down.
So Ultimates, Neptuno with his ult coming up, Carpe with his coming up. I've been seeing this a lot more recently, since Benchmod. If anyone read that article by Benchmod, he said that New York were the only team that used their Widow sights defensively. What they'd do is they'd use it as soon as the other team used it. So I've actually seen a fair few teams be doing that since I read that, which I think is hilarious. He's just changed the way people in pro play look at Widowmaker's ult. Coming up to that, Ikkyo swapped onto double sniper as well, so now they're running mirror into each other. I don't like running mirror double sniper on defense as much. Mostly because if your snipers take out... If your defensive snipers take out the offensive snipers, then the offensive team backs off, tries again. Right? They lose nothing. However, if you lose a defensive sniper to an offensive sniper, your team gets pushed back and you lose ground. So it's a lot worse to have a defensive sniper die than it is to have an offensive sniper die.
As Philly, they invested.
We'll see how we go here.
Into that fight there towards the end.
It's possible Philly have committed themselves to a potential snowball against them now, having used so many of those key ultimates, Matt. That's just why I'm paraphrasing what you said, but you can...
When a Zenyatta is moving that far forward, you know they've that fight won. Interesting grab. I really like that. The damage boost. Did he trance that? No, he didn't have trance. So there's the big combo.
A lot of strikes going on.
Well, I mean, you use both of those ultimates to give yourself a lot of good payload progress.
So now what they do is, now they're going to try and use Shatter to charge up Kalios again.
Obviously. And then you can
And
hold on.
that you use your... The cool thing about Reinhardt Zarya, a lot of people don't understand why you run them together. mostly it's the Reinhardt and enables your Zarya. The Zarya is the important one. Reinhardt's good. Don't get me wrong, Reinhardt is really good, but the Zarya is very good. And you want to enable your Zarya. Reinhardt can push forward aggressively, which Zarya can then protect him with bubbles. But it benefits both of them there. Right? And you sort of use Shatter as a time filler for when you don't have Grav. And if you use Shatter, and then your Zarya starts shooting people in this high charge, which at this point, she looks about, was it 60? Looks about 60 charge there, maybe 40. She should get a fair amount of ult charge from that, especially if she can just right-click into the big group of people and hit everyone at once.
Earth Shatter and both support.
Efficient, right?
Yeah.
An efficient fight win with 2 ultimates committed plus the infra side.
Yeah, and I mean, Kellex probably, we didn't get a chance to see it, but you...
Ultimates on, we've got sights, doesn't mean much. We're coming up to both support ults, and they still haven't got either of their tank ults anywhere near. So Fraggy knows that Gamsu has Shatter. It'll be the Reinhardt mind games here on who can Fraggy block Gamsu's Shatter, or is Gamsu going to outsmart him?
This comes on the other side. Kind of works like how we saw a lot of players, they damage boost the Genji Dragonflame.
And they don't have a Transcendence to stop it if they do get shattered.
You can't just damage boost him as the Dragon is going through. I don't believe you get that increase.
Yeah, it has to be before, as he's firing.
Carpe,
good pick.
himself being damage boost, is able to deal with Striker now, and this will be a way of putting Boston on the back foot for the time being. At least you can see they're now jockeying back a little bit, and they realize the Fusion definitely have the...
So the important sightlines for the snipers to hold on this point, in this section, are up here where EQO is, and on the catwalk where Carpe is. So you'll see the snipers try and contest top of pub and the pub alley, and they'll come around behind boiler, trying to get rid of people on the catwalk so that then they can take that position. That's the sniper positions, and then the rest of the team just pushes through the middle of the choke.
There was no opportunity to resurrect the Hanzo, return him to the fray. And this is crucial moments being bought for Philly now, who can get some of their ultimates up to try and challenge Boston, who still have the Earth Shatter.
Oh, you can't miss that.
Mistakes misses that shot.
What a mistake.
No red shit, if you ask me. Yeah. That one looked like it was on. Players talking about Widowmaker being so good to play on land.
You hate to see it. The Gamsu with his Earth Shatter just gonna...
So they now have their both support ults. So this if their Reinhardt misses, Boombox can, if he's not caught in it or if he's quick enough, can trance and save his team. Because there isn't a lot, they don't have anything to burn through the trance there. Neko would probably trance in retaliation to that. So it's all about if they can hit Boombox in this Shatter. Because Neptuno's healing won't be able to do it. And when they do Shatter, if EQO can do a good Dragon. So if he splits them down the middle and then they go for one side, or if he gets a couple of kills.
Playing the dance here with Fraggy. So good to see Reinhardt back in the meta. I know a lot of people, fans of the hero.
And this means a lot of Zarya
I keep forgetting how slow these fights can be. I keep forgetting how slow the fights can be and how long it takes to get ult charge. Like once the fight starts, then it's quick, but like getting into that engagement range and finding the opportunity to engage can be super slow. Shatters it, gets Neko to trance. But Boombox gets taken out. If Neptuno reses Boombox...
So Boston will come forward and try and capitalize as much as they can. That's a big Dragon Strike.
Yep.
Evens the ledger. It's 3.
It didn't take Boombox to do that, though. I did not call that at all. So they won that fight. Downside, they only got a trance out of Uprising.
Nothing that Boston can do there. They use the Transcendence to try and push up and eliminate the members of the Philadelphia Fusion. They did a nice job. They're able to pick off 3. The bad part is they don't deal with Poco and EQO. They combo for that.
I love those bubbles.
Plus Dragon. Kalios now will have a Graviton Surge to use with Striker's Dragon Strike here. You will have Boombox with Transcendence though.
Gamsu has yet to use an Earth Shatter in this game. So he held his one in that previous fight. You saw that Fraggy was hoping to break his shield. Poco thought that he could have lasered down Gamsu's barrier to make it far more of a lethal
Interesting.
Earth Shatter. So
I like these sort of moves because what they do is they make the defenders think on their feet. Like, sure, you don't have the best positioning, especially with this team comp. You don't really have the best positioning, but you're also going to put them in a really bad position.
Ultimates. Now, Boston now need to actually use theirs and exacerbate their lead, at least on board. Striker, now with a lot of information about the enemy positioning.
So it looks like they'll be going for the Dragon combo again, maybe. They scoped him out.
Infraside is incredibly good combo with that grab, and that's a long-range one coming from downhill.
What happened? What happened there? So Fraggy's what?
In this game. So he threw that one, perhaps not a damage. Getting
Oh my god, I'm terrible at this. Where
through
is
that
it?
one, perhaps not a damage.
So what?
Earth Shatter. So, because it was blocked, Philly had to invest further ultimates. Now, Boston now need to actually
Fraggy
use
gets
theirs and exacerbate
Shatter.
their lead, at least on board. Strike.
I see the Widowmaker all the way behind them. Know that we can just take the fight up front. Should take too long.
Infraside is incredibly good combo.
Does the Grav Dragon combo.
It's a long range.
Fraggy counter hammers
One
when the
coming from
Reinhardt's not
downhill.
there. That's not bad.
Now, there's a
They have trance, but they have no follow-up, so they can't break through the
Transcendence
trance.
is enough to keep the fusion healed up.
So the combo's wasted there because they didn't follow up on it.
Through that one, perhaps not a damage
Fraggy,
boost
yeah,
there.
Fraggy went really deep. Fraggy should have just altered and then probably left them on the ground. Because what Fraggy did there was he stopped them from pushing in and taking, like, the actual fight. This is what I'm talking about with the counter shatters. But normally you're in the grab when that happens. That was good. But Fraggy didn't need to charge there. If he didn't charge, it might have been better.
Yeah, Philly was able to get
And
away
then
from that because
it's
they
all
used the
up
Sonic
to
Arrow see
Gamsu
where
Shadow
Boston was
here.
coming from up top. That's how they rotated all the way back around towards
Still,
the other side.
Philly is one
Kelly
down though,
balls.
and in very
Catch up
bad
with Carpe.
position.
This will get rezzed up around the corner. As you have EQO and Poco.
Yeah, Boston have
in
this
very
fight.
tough positions. Poco with yet another grab, but
If
he's going to decide to use it here. There's not going to be a ton of follow-up though. No.
why did he think to use that?
Heal. Now, there's a
Why did he
Transcendence
think to
is
use
enough
that?
to keep the fusion healed up through that one, perhaps not a damage boost there.
So Fraggy,
Striker
if he
though,
didn't
at least
charge
goes
here,
with
this would have been
Fraggy with that
amazing.
scatter shot.
Probably would have saved them that
Yeah,
fight.
Philly was able to get away from that because they used the Sonic Arrow to see where Boston was coming from up top. That's how they rotated all the way back around towards the other
Poco
side.
super high
Kelly
charge.
Headshot from Carpe. This will get rezzed up around the corner. As you have EQO and Poco and
So
very tough position. Poco
he sees a bunch of people here
with yet another grab, but
and grabs them
he's
wide.
going to decide to use it here. There's not going to be a ton of follow-up though.
No, and
Counter shatter for when they get stuck in the grav, but
Goodman.
didn't need to do that anyway.
Fusion from me out to follow up on that. Philly were pretty well out of position as it were, so that will be a payload.
That was a really
Getting to
bad
the
ult.
foundry stage now.
So now both Poco and
Checkpoint
Fraggy
being there
have
will be no
wasted an ult and
resistance
an
for
end
the
of a
fusion.
fight.
Boston having to, commit a couple of those ultimates to the
Oh,
fight. I mean, for Poco, that was definitely
That was
a
not
more
good.
of a desperate graviton surge there. He'll be without that now.
Not
coming into
good
the last
at
stage of
all.
the map.
Give me with
Snipers trying to contest the
and
high ground.
Kalios.
Both snipers up here. So you want this high ground here as the attackers. Not only does it stop them from actually contesting you all this way. If you own the high ground, they can't really contest you in this section. Also gives you access to their spawns and flanks with this tunnel up here. And you can contest when they're on the high ground there, and you get full viewpoint of over here. This is just, you want to own this high ground. Right? If you own people on this high ground here, you've got really good sight of the entire section. pushing up to here would be rather dangerous without your team. So, like, with their Fusion. So Fusion should hold here until their Reinhardt and Zarya get about here. Then they would probably want to come over here to contest it. Until then, they'll just keep it clear.
At about the same ult charge time, you're giving it a big advantage here to Boston. I mean, Kalio's already well on his way to another Graviton Surge. 60% of the way there, you're going to have that grab plus Dragon yet again.
Something that I'm not seeing as much of, which I saw at the end of last stage, which they could still do now, is when the Widowmaker peeks the other Widowmaker, the D.Va will defense matrix the Widowmaker so they can get a free shot. I'm not seeing any of that anymore, even though you could do that with Zarya. I imagine they just don't feel it's worth it. Defense matrix half a second, not an important resource to lose, but a Zarya bubble is. But I'd still like to see it sometimes. So now Widow up here, Fraggy gets taken out. How does Fraggy die? Why does Fraggy die?
Charge time, you're giving it a
Yeah, Widowmaker takes up here, so she gets the line of sight on everywhere. Oh, Fraggy just moved really far forward. Yeah, that was a bad charge, unfortunately. Or a bad time to stop charging.
Because what Gamsu can do now, when he's been given those frequent Zarya and bubbles, can just step forward and swing the hammer.
Walking forward into them.
If he doesn't get damaged, then fine. He's charging up his Zarya. If he does, then bully to him. I don't know what people are saying about this.
Now the high ground would be very important.
Ooh,
sneaky.
Hanzo's still extremely effective, even without, I know, Stormbow.
Split the team, give Fusion time. So the Dragon here is a zoning ult, not really meant to kill anyone. They just sort of want to split the team. Unfortunately, all you've split is Hanzo. A Widowmaker's up here somewhere, I believe.
Questionable Dragon strike.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's nothing he can combo with, right? Here's going to be the Dragon with the grab in the corner, and there you go.
Half a second off that. Half a second. They swapped Neptuno onto Ana here.
When he's been given those frequent Zarya and bubbles, can just step forward and swing the hammer. If he doesn't get damaged, then fine. He's charging.
Okay. I like this. I like this. They don't. Not this them dying, but I like.
I don't know what people are saying, Matt. This looks a lot
this.
like my ranked games with all this Zarya Hanzo play. Well, look, Kalios is close to another grab too.
Hanzo's still
so bad at this.
Even without.
I like this. What is so good about this? They know, so Fusion know, because they're great ult trackers, because everyone at this level should be a great ult tracker, that they have this combo available to them. They almost have trance. However, when they get grabbed, and then they trance, and then the dragons come through being damage boosted, trance is going to do diddly squat. So what they do is they throw an Ana nade into it, which increases the healing by 50%. So instead of doing 300 heals per second, he's now doing 450 heals per second, and nothing is getting through that. Like, that's... Transcendence is heals enough, but Transcendence plus Ana nade's just freaking huge. Widowmaker can still get picks, though, so they gotta be aware of that. Striker can still get picks. Gamsu can hammer down. So this is their win condition right now. Survive the grab long enough. Right, and then they should have spawn advantage. They'll be able to get their own ults up. But at this point, this is their win condition. And let's see how that goes for them.
That's a questionable Dragon strike there.
Well, I mean, there's nothing he can...
Boombox doesn't get his Transcendence in time. Neko trances for some reason. But Boombox doesn't get his trance in time, so they die.
Here's going to be the Dragon with the grab in the corner, and there you go. I mean, that's a big combo there. You're going to have a Transcendence as well for the Boston Uprising. They'll be able to complete
I like this swap. They understood what they needed to do. They just couldn't do it in time.
Now, Matt, in a world where Poco doesn't use a Graviton Surge, sort of 3v5, he may have had that for that last stage. You see Fraggy there has been very trigger happy. Getting the charge. Now, if it's a long Reinhardt charge, the
does he not even kill him?
The wall and
he doesn't even kill him.
The charge. He actually tries to.
He misses the wall. He's aiming for that. Oh, that's such a shame. I still think that charge was ballsy and he shouldn't have done it.
To hit one of the protrusions on the wall and trigger the charge damage, it was just a little bit too long. So that is classic Fraggy.
What are you playing?
That is classic
do you do the double
Fraggy.
sniper on offense here if you're Philadelphia?
I was wondering why he went so
Thought,
deep.
you know,
He missed the
making
wall.
some
That's
progress on defense.
That's
I
a
think
shame.
If they would have held on to that grab, the second grab from Poco, I think you probably would have been able to hold on to it. We have a little
Hanzo head-to-head
in here as C Striker did a nice job on the Hanzo.
yeah, just skip forward a bit. Nice work, EQO. How much time did he play? He didn't do a lot of damage, but like when he did, how many shots did he fire?
Boston will go for high ground control here.
Oh, I've jumped too far forward. I do like what I'm seeing though. It's different. Come on. Come on.
and sort of the roles that they choose to pick up. But strikers.
So Boston are running here. This is the standard comp for defense on this map. Hang on.
Heroes prior to this stage begin.
This is a standard comp. So this is pretty much what everyone runs on this. You set up your Orisa barrier up here. You have a junk trap here. You contest with your Diva. So when teams set up here, everyone's up here. The other team has to displace them. Otherwise, what they do is they have their Diva drop here, or their Orisa drop here, barrier off the point, sit in the corner, their high ground contest, and the Junkrat and the Zenyatta and the Widowmaker just do damage. You can't take the point with them up here. You need to remove them from up here. So teams will run dive into it. That's what Junkrat excels at, because when they dive in, he concussion mines them off, or he traps them on, and then they just kill them there. So this is the standard way to defend this map, and most teams you'll see will come up with strategies to get rid of this standard defense.
It's the benefit of having a lot
Example
of players,
for
you can have some
Philly
much strength
Fusion.
players on the bench for a bit. It's kind of what Boston
Three,
did with mistakes, right?
two,
Primarily comes into the Overwatch League
one.
as a tracer spec.
Alright. So I imagine this is a custom-built team comp to deal with this defense. The Diva could knock people off because she isn't affected by concussion mines while she's boosting. So Junkrat can't concussion her off. He can only trap her. Neptuno and Boombox running those healers because those are the healers you run with triple tank. Fraggy on Reinhardt. It's sort of a disjointed team comp for me to look at. So Fraggy can't contest them up there at all. He can fire strike them, which can allow for picks for Poco as he flies in to boop somebody off. But not really one you want to rely on. They could throw a damage orb up there, fire strike, and then Poco flies at the same time. But these two are not part of that strategy at all. So these two run together implies shield break. They want some form of shield break. Because Hanzo, even without his volley, his storm arrow, sorry, he still does some decent shield break. Roadhog does very good shield break. They probably will try and use Roadhog to pull tanks off the high ground towards them, and to stop the Diva from trying to contest the low ground. So Diva flies down, jumps down, and then flies back up, right, to contest the low ground. With the Roadhog, if the Diva flies down and then tries to fly away, Roadhog can then hook her. She doesn't have boosters. She's dead on the point. And Carpe just loads damage in, can get into off angles up here, can move over here, can contest the Widow. So We'll see how this goes, but I like the idea. If they're doing what I think they're going to do, I like this idea. It just means they need to get onto the point and at least stay on the point long enough for the Uprising to have to come down to them.
Boston will go for high ground control here. They'll have the Orisa Baron.
So they rotate around Hotel, which means that the entire team rotates around to top of Telly.
With Junkrat behind it. Widowmaker as well. This will be the Fusion playing with triple tank. They'll have Roadhog,
I forgot about this. That's why they're running the Hanzo.
But in Reinhardt here.
They want to force the Uprising to fight them on the point itself. Now,
Scatters. Yep. That's how you deal with a Widowmaker. I completely forgot about this. I really wish we were all playing on this patch. This seems like a really fun patch to be playing on without the Hanzo buffs. Because everyone's doing such interesting things. Like, from the games I've watched this week, they're just so diverse. It's awesome. So yeah, they take the hotel room, cause them to rotate around. Carpe just... He was never going to try and hit the Widow in the head. His plan was always to scatter her.
Widowmaker as well. This will be the Fusion playing with
That's
triple
really
tank.
good.
They'll have Roadhog, D.Va, in Reinhardt here.
They want to force
So then Orisa has to start contesting.
Now, I've seen this one before, Carpe!
So Orisa sits in the corner, but without your Widow pressure, they have this whole point to themselves now. You wanted your Widow on defense. You wanted your Widow to sort of hold down the areas that your tanks couldn't. You want to hold the corner with your front line, which is the tanks, right? So they have the rest of the area to themselves. So the Widow creates pressure so that they can't just run rampant and do whatever they want. But now they don't have that pressure. Carpe can take whatever angles he wants, because nobody's going to punish him for it. If the D.Va starts to come towards him, Boombox can just start healing him through that damage while D.Va gets blown up. Reinhardt, Roadhog just walk through an Orisa. The Junkrat will cause a problem, but the D.Va can eat the bomb, so just, yeah. That Widowmaker was really important to the strategy.
The Fusion have a lot of durability, a lot of healing available to them in close quarters on this point. This is the perfect place for them to fight. A fertile ground for their victory. And now they're just going to plug away.
Really good positioning as well from Carpe. Stays in that lane there so he can stay out of the side of the res Widowmaker. Please don't step in that trap.
Boston was not prepared for that. We were talking in our meeting this morning, a little bit of our story meeting about how sick Carpe has been on Hanzo on Kings Road, doing that exact flank, going the team with the
looking for the Zenyatta.
Straight through the underpass and comes up and scatters.
All right, what do we got ultimate wise? We got dragons coming up. We just used that. Coalescence coming up. Tire will be available for them. See, now they've had to swap their tanks. This is where that first defense is kind of all or nothing. Because now you're probably going to lose this second fight as well. Oh, sorry, no, they didn't use that. They swapped the tanks around.
Did the same exact
They swapped off the Roadhog. Yeah, so I imagine that Roadhog was there just to contest the D.Va.
That, though, because the entirety of the field is sort of ground team, open space for Carpe to get out behind them, right? If you're playing some sort of long-range poke composition, you can't do that. You can't get close enough while remaining undetected.
You know the Widowmaker is going to rotate to that window because it's that best sight
Forces
line.
them back with Coalescence. Oh, no! Kalios gets caught on the letterbox.
From Carpe, that'll come through deep, but it's going to be Neko using the Transcendence.
Yo, fam, I hope you like visual effects. We got plenty of them for you. There's a one-for-one trade, though, man, as the smoke sort of clears.
This could go the way of the Uprising, if they tried hard enough. If Kellex gets his Valkyrie by the end of the fight, before the end of the fight, sorry, and they stop Fraggy's Shatter, they should still be able to power through this. But Neptuno will probably have beat by then as well.
Both these teams will probably still persist on this current line.
So, yeah, once again, it comes down to if you can block the shatter. I imagine they can. This is a pretty easy place to block shatters.
Frankie has that Earth Shatter, so we're looking
But
to
they
see
are
if
letting
the
them have
Philadelphia
free
Fusion can burst
space.
down Gamsu's shield. Now the Uprising, just trying to keep them at arm's length and get some value out of mistakes.
Mistakes, made a
As they push
mistake.
around the corner, but he's been
Did he hook into that position?
Gonna be Neko using the Transcendence.
Yo, fam, I hope you like
Everybody
visual
comes up.
effects. We got plenty of them for you. There's a 1-for-1 trade though, man.
So,
As the smoke sort of
watching
clears. So both these
mistakes.
teams will probably still persist on this current line. Frankie has that Earth
He's
Shatter,
hooked.
so we're looking to see if the Philadelphia Fusion.
So he doesn't have hook at the moment because he used hook to get up there. And he's really far forward. He must have just forgotten about the Diva. If they weren't running the Diva here and they're running another Sniper, or they were running a Junkrat, or they were running something else along those lines, this would be fine. But because they're running a Diva with high ground contest,
To burst down Gamsu's shield. Now the Uprising, just trying to keep
Just
them at arm's length and get some
exactly
value out
what
of
happens
mistakes.
is what
We know
was
here,
supposed to
as
happen.
they push around the corner, but he's been caught out. EQO hunts him down on the Diva. Not often we see him with this assignment, but it's not the first time. Poco deals with striking out, having to switch to Zaya after playing Diva initially.
I missed the Reinhardt shatter. I was too busy
Smoke sort of
worrying
clears.
about
So both these teams will probably still persist on this
mistakes.
current line.
mistakes.
Frankie has that Earth Shatter, so we're looking to see if the Philadelphia Fusion is going to burst down Gamsu's shield. Now the Uprising, just trying to keep them at arm's length and get some value out of mistakes as Widow here as they push around the corner. But he's been caught out. EQO hunts
So beats
him
dropped.
down on the Diva. Not often we
Valkyrie is either in response or to get away from EQO. Could be either, could be both. Works both ways.
see him with this assignment.
A hammer comes down after Striker gets taken
But
out.
it's not the first time. Poco deals with Striker.
Can't
now,
see
having
if
switched to
anyone's
Zaya
hit by
after
it.
playing Diva
Fraggy
initially.
charges
And
off into
Fusion
the
rolling quite
distance.
comfortably here. Mistakes is now out of position behind the Fusion. And the rest of the Uprising have to challenge, but they've got a lot of healing from Valkyrie.
Yeah, and it's been the aggression from Philadelphia that's given them this progress. With Neptuno playing Lucio and Boombox playing Moira, you can close the gap with these tanks really quick. You can get Fraggy in there, he can cause a ton of damage. Same with Poco. So now that they've been stumped, what do you do? Because now you're going to be able to play this choke here.
Ultimate's coming up. Grav Trance. Hammer. This is a very beefy comp, so Junkrat might get his tire in time for the Grav. However, I wouldn't really like to use it in the Grav. If they just Grav, swing a hammer at them, which they know Fraggy doesn't have hammer down, so they can do, and then just fire into it. However, counter Grav could come off here. The Fusion could possibly Grav bomb, but they might swap EQO off right now
Frankie's
because
Earth
they're
Shatter,
swapping around.
apparently amounting to very little amongst the flurry.
No,
of action
they're
in the
running
previous
it.
Fight. We didn't really see exactly how it
Okay,
was
so
laid down, but
they could go Grav bomb. The Reinhardt would have to charge the other Reinhardt. He probably knows he doesn't have hammer. If Gamsu doesn't get hammer by the time that they use Grav, then Fraggy just charges him and they get a wipe with the
didn't
bomb.
have much
He
value.
only connected with Neko.
Okay.
During that Earth Shatter.
But I imagine
I mean,
Gamsu will
there
have
are
it by
definitely
then.
a lot of cases where you're happy with a one-man Earth Shatter, just spending on
Uprising
the time, but
advantage.
it's enough. Kalios gets into the back line, and there's the charge. Carpe's down, and Gamsu's going to swing for the fence. Plenty of healing now, and he can play that aggressive style. And Philadelphia Fusion reduced to
Mistakes
ash.
getting those kills.
And EQO will be kept alive as long as he's practicable. That's a long stagger, fam.
And something that happened there pretty quick. It looked like Fraggy threw his fire strike up towards the side. It's something that Johnny was mentioning to me that some Reinhardts will throw the fire strike over towards a side, and just the animation will force a Zarya bubble out from the opponent. So you're baiting the Zarya bubble out, not giving any energy to it. And
Coming into this fight, we've got the bomb and the Grav. Gamsu does have Shatter though. So the idea with the bomb and the Grav is you throw the Diva bomb past the Grav. That way it forces Reinhardt to make a decision. He needs to either shield the bomb or shield his team. And depending on where Ryan's situated, he may not be able to shield either. But when this works best is when you have your own shatter. Because what you can do is Grav, throw the bomb, then throw a shatter in at the last second, which the Reinhardt has to shield the bomb, gets shattered, drops his shield, everyone dies. But I don't exactly think this would work if you don't have shatter. If he tries to charge the enemy Reinhardt, which I imagine that's what Fraggy's going to do, he loves doing it, GameStop would just shatter him.
Then being able to take advantage of it.
Unless Poco bubbles Fraggy, but that's a lot of stars that need to align. Could be some really good teamwork, but that's a lot of stars that need to...
It's basically throwing it with an intended miss. That's right. You're intending not to hit anything.
There's the bomb. Never mind, where was Gamsu? That was really nice. I like how he throws it over the top. EQO's been picking some stuff up from Poco. Alright, where's Gamsu gone? That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Again coming late in the day for the future, but actually seems to have hit the mark, and there it is. EQO drops in the self-destruct. The Transcendence will have very
Trance does nothing.
little
They
effect,
still
and
have
won't do
bounce,
much to
though.
prolong the lifespan
They'll
of
have this
Uprising.
point.
Poco throws that one straight in and leads his team forward now, and they will head to that last stage, following quite a successful fight that started with the loss of one of their individuals.
Kalios will take a while to get Grav because he's got to get charged back up. However, I don't know how these guys get... I do. They're very good at it. Getting Grav back up is quite amazing watching the pros.
Carpe getting fire struck by Gamsu early.
Like, their energy... They will sit at average 80, 90 energy most of the time.
Unless your Ryan's alive, but even then, like, depending on where the self-destruct comes down, it'll be difficult to stay alive on through it. Carpe will take out Striker with a...
Striker gets res though. They need Striker alive because Striker is going to be the threat to the Zenyatta. They need to take out... They need to take out Neptuno because if they take out Boombox, Neptuno just reses him.
Will get res right up. You need Striker because you have this Riptire. You can combo Riptire Grav if you wanted. Looks like they'll use the Riptire here. See if they decide to use
Good
the Grav.
pick on
You can
Carpe.
over the top. Fusion don't have a lot of sort of projectiles to stop that outside of Boombox, and Carpe was down.
Like
so
them
we
to
didn't have the robot mind
switch
just
off the
blow the tire off
Widowmaker.
immediately. So
Not the
Fraggy did
Widowmaker,
very
sorry,
well
the Diva.
to get rid of that tire. It's a tough job for Ryans, but we see top level Reinhardt players are able to fire strike.
Because they're almost running Miracom. They're almost doing the exact same things, except Diva is their high ground contest, where Widowmaker is Uprising's high ground contest. And if Mistakes gets healing while EQO is trying to fly into him, Mistakes will kill EQO before EQO can kill Mistakes. But that's only if he's got the pocket.
Sky. And Kalios has had a very good first.
Ultimates. Grav, just shoot into it. Shatter. I'd like to see Gamsu try and get the Shatter out of Fraggy, and then Shatter himself first. Use Shatter this fight, and then save Grav for next fight.
Game here on King's Row, 29 elims, 8 final blows. For me, 13 Grav kills, so you're getting a ton of value out of his Gravs. It's about 3 kills per Grav.
Where is Mistakes, and how come he's
For
doing...
me, 13 and 29
So Mistakes is up here.
8 final blows. For me, 13 Grav kills, so you're getting a ton of value out of his Gravs. It's about
And Boombox just walks
here
into
on
his line of
King's Row,
sight.
29 elims, 8 final blows. For me, 13 Grav kills, so you're getting a ton of value out of his Gravs. It's about 3 kills per Grav. Here we see he puts a nice one up
And
on
then
the
they
wall.
can
You're
just
able to get 2
freely
players
grab.
inside of it. That's both tanks as well. This will force Philly back.
You can see what a Zarya specialist adds to your team,
Oh, yeah.
right? Kalios is having an incredible performance. Conversely, you know, Poco's been a little bit quieter so far. A couple more deaths.
Both the trances are coming up. Yeah, Eco is stopping onto the Hanzo, so they're trying to get the win condition now. They're trying to get the Grav Dragons combo off.
Yes, he's got about half the eliminations that Kalios has managed to accrue now. That is probably more because there have been more grab dragon combos from the Uprising than from the Fusion, right?
So a lot less ultimates get used in fights compared to dive, because dive you've got the tank ultimates, which just most of the time is used to keep them alive, where Zarya and Reinhardt have ultimates that literally win fights. They are the win conditions.
Correct.
Where dive was more about for Winston D.Va, the win condition was within the actual what's the word I'm looking for? The actual mechanical fight and the game sense without ultimates.
A lot of eliminations just by being involved in that combo with Zarya.
It's a lot more Q heavy, is what I'm trying to say.
Can't be used frivolously at this stage because Boston, if you let them start to set up and lean into this defensive structure, they will be very hard to shift later.
Hanzo Junkrat's difficult though. They have a lot of raw damage with that combo, but Hanzo can't compete with Widowmaker at all. And Carpe has the low ground versus Striker, who can control the high ground with his team. He can hold this area up here. He can come up here. He's got the better positioning. So, no, not him. Sorry, Striker. Striker's got a better positioning. So it'll be difficult for Carpe to win that. And yet we are still yet to see these go off. Poco will probably have use Grav before the Earth Shatters go off.
We'll see if Mistakes can get anything here.
Oi! And that's a lost fight.
That'll end that push.
I mean, we question Mistakes.
You can't. I just realized how loud I had this. This is better. There we go. You can't use concussion mines when there's a Widowmaker on the field. You just can't. It just puts you in such a predictable arc. You saw how easily he took that shot.
Towards the end, he's really hitting shots.
He was, you can make an argument he was their best player in the semi-final final. The previous stage.
He always swaps off onto Widowmaker.
When you see him opt into duels against
Yeah, they're running mirror comps, but they have the tire to combo with the Grav. However, the tire can be taken out.
Those 2 picks that he picks up allows Kalios to build another Grav. As you see, he lands a big one going on the flank. The Transcendence comes out. You're able to keep a few players alive, but
They get
Carpe,
one.
the damage gone from the Philadelphia Fusion.
And the place where Carpe died is so far advanced that you can't get a Reinhardt in a position to allow for the resurrect. EQO, though, can be brought back, and that's all well and good for Mistakes.
Oh, I did it.
Allows Kalios to build
Trance
another
comes
Grav.
out.
As you see, he lands a big one going on the flank. The
Grav for
Transcendence
Trance, and they still got a kill. That's a great trade.
Carpe, that's a ton of the damage gone from the Philadelphia Fusion.
And the place where Carpe died is so far advanced that you can't get a Reinhardt in a position to allow for the resurrect. EQO, though, can be brought back, and that's all well and good for Mistakes. He's keeping it.
Who did he get? He got Reinhardt. He literally got just Reinhardt.
Just the one.
And he hits the bubble. Philly are just throwing their win conditions away. And they still both have Shatter.
Fusion have not been hitting as consistently, but you better know Fraggy is going to be ruining the day. He stepped forward. Striker burning some real rubber. And now Gamsu would step forward, of course, with that Earth Shatter, so catch anyone out. Maybe if you could split half the team with this. EQO and Carpe, a bit of a switch up here.
I mean, even if the
Yeah, this is what you wanted to do. They're just trying to get rid of Tire, but you can't just get rid of Grav as well. Especially when you only have a minute left.
The Dragon Strike with the Graviton Surge, I mean, you're still getting double the amount of Graviton Surge kills from Kalios as opposed to Poco. So that is a huge difference. I mean, you see the one that Kalios just laid down there, he's already halfway to another grab. If you get a
The
pick
Widow
on
fight.
Here, that puts Philly in a really bad spot.
Mistakes feeling slightly threatened, so he's going to pull that infra sight so we can sort of have that advantage in duels against Carpe. So
You see what a Widowmaker does to a team. Watch where they were before
Halfway to
Widowmaker was on the field. Widowmaker's here now.
If you get a
Watch
pick
the
on
front line.
Mistakes here, that puts Philly in a really bad spot.
They're just letting them have this space now.
Infra sight so we can sort of have that advantage in duels against Carpe. So the fusion
The
have switched
the
Carpe.
Widowmaker is terrifying, especially when it's Carpe.
Now they're serious about winning this Widow Jewel. They know they need to bring out the big guns, but that might not be enough to break through the healing of the Transcendence.
I couldn't see that. Did he hit anyone?
We can sort of have that advantage in Jules against Carpe. So the Fusion have switched Carpe to Widowmaker now, and they're serious about winning this Widow Jewel. They know they need to
I can't see if he hit anyone. So Neko and Calyx both ults. I don't like when they do this. This is it's not as bad as a trance and a sound barrier, but it's pretty damn excuse me. It's pretty damn close. Like the Mercy can damage boost you through it, yeah, but I don't know. I don't like when they do this. But the trance, he obviously hit someone because he forced Neko to trance.
That might not be enough to break through the healing of the Transcendence. Fraggy gets a big charge underwards Striker, so able to overcome that extra healing from the Uprising.
Gets two.
Transcendence for the Fusion brought to bear. The Fusion are able to move forward now in numbers, but they need to sustain this push.
Dempsey's going to die. He's too far forward.
Stay in this fight.
Or not. Or not. Why did he not die there? What happened? Dempsey's in the middle of the team.
But they need to sustain this push, and the Uprising can just jockey back and try and stay in this fight. They don't even.
Everyone dies.
They can back out of this completely, but
that's why.
They could have backed out here because you would have grab plus a Riptire here at the end. No Transcendence on the other side. That's going to be a.
Calyx is just going to grab them as they try to come in. There's nothing they can do.
Well, but Boston
That's it.
Just looking so strong on D here, Mitch. They will hold Philadelphia and take map number 1.
That's good as well. We've seen Kalios brought.
I think Fusion were a bit more liberal with their team comps.
Didn't get to shine, but he hits the ground running here and has an impressive performance.
Wait, what?
Final blows, 38 eliminations for 6 deaths.
There we go, blue.
Loco on the other side, only 19
They're coming back with this
final blows
Fusion
and 9 deaths.
wins
So,
shit.
you know, half a lot of the stats.
Professional Overwatch, you should
Boston
not
number
be
eight. Boston definitely
fucking that up.
You know, the DPS players from the Philadelphia
Yeah, Fusion were a lot more liberal with their team comps. Boston stuck to pretty much just standard stuff. And it's standard for a reason. Hanamura. I've been seeing some